So make an attempt to read this particular slide. It says, couldn't believe that I could actually can go ahead. So when we complete this paragraph, you will realize that the meaning of the slide is slightly clear now. Now this is another slide where you will have to look really hard. You will have to probably shrink the size of your eyes and look deeply, and you will be able to see one animal there trying to graze on the ground. I don't know how many of them will be able to actually make out. Is it possible? Few of you are able to see, just raise your thumb.
Is that a dog or a cow which is trying to graze on the ground?
Yeah, you can see the silhouette. Yeah, so you are able to make out.
Right.
Yeah. So initially, when you look at the slide, it just appears few blotches of dots. Then our mind starts to work, tries to see the complete picture and creates an outline, fills the gaps, and this image comes out for us. Basically, what Gestalt theory is all about. You all must have done your basic design exercises where you have been judged for the aesthetics, and different teachers or different mentors had different interpretations. So this particular presentation will talk about how this visual judgment happens and what's the science behind it. This is a fantastic exercise. I want to make it very clear. So you will be seeing names of words, colors, and you have to actually name the color which is there. You don't have to read it. I'll just give you an example. Now, if you see what is written over there is yellow, blue, and orange. But what you have to try and do is you have to read the color which is there. That is green, red, and blue. Is it clear? Okay. So shall we make an attempt? I'll go further. But try to say it loud. Even if you are on mute, try to say it loud wherever you are. This is
yellow, blue, black.
Yeah. Just keep it
Black.
mute. Just keep your mute and then try doing it. You will have conflict. Just enjoy that.
Red, blue, green. Black, red, yellow. Green, blue, black. Blue, red, green.
So the conflict that you have come across, this particular conflict is called as the right and left brain conflict. So one part of the brain tries to tell you that what is written is what is to be read, and the other side, you are trying to cope up with what color is there in front of you and you are trying to answer. So this is the exercise which is very popular for right and left brain coordination. So these are the principles of Gestalt theory. It talks about symmetry, similarity, proximity, closure, but we don't want to get into that at the moment. We'll go further. Yeah. So symmetry is very simple. On the top you see balance, so that is a symmetry, and the bottom composition definitely is imbalanced because it turns towards left. Now there might be a symmetrical balance and an asymmetrically balanced composition. So sometimes our visual compositions are exactly symmetrical and that is why they appear balanced. But the other example is also relevant. Look at this. This is also an example of a visual composition which is balanced, but without being symmetrical. What happens when you shift the balance? When you shift the balance, the focus changes completely. Like in this particular screen, you cannot ignore the rectangular block which is diagonally placed. It is very dynamic to the screen. Your attention gets to that. So this is what is used in advertising and visual merchandising when you want to give a very strong message. So this is how the shift of balance happens. called as counterbalancing. A very big item, balanced by a. So this is counter reaction. Reaction. So this is an example of an attempt of a visual composition which is with an asymmetrical compositional balance. We go further. This is probably a visual frame. Now I will introduce the elements and then you will know what is the gravity of that material. Now this is a ball which is at the bottom. Probably this may appear heavier than this. So if you go back and forth, our associated memory of anything which is kept on the ground is heavier and anything on top is lighter. So this heavier and lighter frame. So this is how we are associating the law of gravity, visual gravity. This is action and counter reaction. Such a dynamic, if you want to put across a message. So one part of the composition is on this side, the other part is slightly off the center or off the frame, and still the diagonal connect is so strong that it becomes a very good visual communication. This is effectively used in posters. Look at the dynamics. The same dynamics of this composition has been so effectively used here as a line of communication. This was a communist poster during the Russian avant-garde. And this was a very popular style of how visual composition theories were applied to design. So sometimes a very obvious point is the center. What happens when you shift it? Yeah, if it goes off center, it continuously draws your attention to it. So now there is another conceptual theory which is under Gestalt, and that is law of continuation. You can see the leaf, how that dynamic curvature from the edge as a brand image has been just throwing that particular leaf off, and how we visually connect to it. There is no way that our eyes will not move in this particular curvature which is there. So how you are forcing the viewer to follow the lines of vision as you wish. So this same law of visual continuation allows the person to complete the picture. Probably this path looks unending, and maybe that is the plot end of the plot. But if you put a road like this, and if the person is the owner of a bungalow, the guest to his house probably will feel that he has such a huge plot that probably it walks into the woods, and maybe just behind that tree is the compound wall. So this is the law of continuation, which can also be used to create a falsified illusion. Camouflage, good continuation. The continuation is very good. It becomes camouflage. Some animals are gifted in nature to camouflage themselves with the surroundings. This is law of good continuation. I'll give you some more examples. This is a very distinctly popular image about how illusion is created by discontinuation of lines. See the dynamism of lines. If you just create a composition like this, it adds a visual enigma to any composition. Very static page becomes very dynamic when you allow certain amount of visual movement. This is law of closure. Law of closure is very important visual illusion and is explored by photographers, painters, visual graphic designers. You can imagine the image of the panda, but if you look at it, it is just blotches of patches. But the way our eye tends to complete the image, that is called as law of closure. I'll give you some more examples of how these are applied. Look at the color of the triangle which is at the center. It just blatantly stands out that it is more whiter than the remaining background. Does it appear? If you look at it carefully, it will start to appear more white than the background, but actually the color is same. The same is to the on the left. If you see the triangle on left, that's just 3 dots. But if you look at them very carefully, the triangle which is framed by them appears much darker than the background. So I make the surface technically appear more lighter, or you can make it appear more darker. This is a very powerful tool in design. you can see this law of closure apply. Very clearly, distinctly, you can see this page or a piece of rectangle separating itself from the ground. In fact, it is accented by these short lines which are there at the center. So to apply closure, you should know which corners to emphasize. If you are able to correctly emphasize the corners, the mind will complete that picture. It's a very interesting visual composition technique. So without use of color, you are separating the surface from the background. This is a very famous sketch of human face or an urn. It's a law of figure and ground. I'll take this step further. When you see these patterns, how many columns are there? How many vertical strips are there? Vertical columns are there? Now your mind will start from the left and you will create symmetrical assemblies first. Then you will go and you will create some visual assemblies on the right hand side. Somebody has to put the mic at the this is another law of figure and ground where the horses are seen on going in either directions. If you focus on the black, you will see them going on the right. If you focus on the left, white ones, you will see that they are going on the left side. Now, many times in design or compositions, you are asked to identify the focal point. There are various ways in which how you can create a focal point in design. So one is by changing the shape. If you change the shape, it becomes a focal point. Be slightly alert because in the slides to follow, I want you to search or find the focal point, the fastest finger first kind of around. Bang, your eyes comes to that particular yellow rose which is there. Correct? Look at this one. Zap, your eyes go directly to the person which is there. This is how your eye directly captures the focus. Now these laws are very well used by companies to project their image, which is called as isomorphic correspondence. Certain images have meanings and symbols, like a bulb, a bright bulb stands for an idea. Now, irrespective whether you understand that or not, it's very brightly shining up. Well, IBM is a logo, very popular logo. It directly connects to the world of cyber. These are some of the very popular symbols which are there, which are used in visual communication, signages. So this is all created from Gestalt principles of design. Only the chill out, only the main features are highlighted. Law of proximity. We will be amazed by our power to check the proximity. How many rows or columns are there? You will feel there are rows or columns. Rows means the horizontal lines, columns means the vertical lines. But with the law of proximity, we can say definitely, we don't see 4 columns in this, we definitely see 3 rows. Now look at the composition now. On the left, the single square, it's very balanced, the proximities are clear. But on the right side, it's a minor change, very minuscule difference in gap. And you can say the upper one is the columns and the lower ones are the rows. The law of proximity is used like this. So you will see those 2 parallel lines together and then the gaps. This is an application. Be very honest. Look at both the advertisements and judge which one you like the most. One on the top or one on the bottom. The owner has probably paid the same amount of price for this advertising. Which one you go for? I think most of you will agree the message is distinctly clear in the second one. And there are certain principles of design or the Gestalt principles which have been applied here. The focal point, the difference in size, what is to be emphasized first, what has to be seen next. So if it captures the attention of the onlooker, definitely the person will look further. But if the image is like the one which is on top, then you have bored the onlooker and he will not bother to see further. Similarly, this particular advertisement, this is one This is another example. Just be honest. Tell me or tell yourself which one looks better, option A or option B. So many times we know the answer. Yeah, this option B looks better because it is well sorted. The idea is very clear. So the visual compositions have to distinctly communicate what you want the attention to go to. So this is a very important message when you are creating your own letterhead, when you are creating your visiting card, when you are creating the cover page of your design, whether you are making a slide cover of your presentation, whether your composition of your sheets in design drawings. So this applies to a lot of areas in life. And a lot of our decision making of foreground, background, composition comes from here. We read a lot of books. There are some books which are textbooks. There are some books which are guides. But guides sometimes prove to be better than textbooks because of this system that they use. You see the left page and the right page, the content is same. But just because this rectangle is added, it slightly lessens the burden on the eye. And it makes the appearance of that particular composition much easier to grasp. So the person doesn't read one whole page. He reads three parts: the top half, mid half, and the bottom. And he decides, I can keep this rectangle at hold. I can read the top and the bottom first. And then probably I will grasp what is written at the center. So this is how your visual communication, when you are preparing notes for your exams, when you are composing your data, so you can use these Gestalt principles also to compose your write-up and make it very interesting to look. Make a comparison between this left and right. So sometimes design. Sometimes we design for the design's sake. Oh, this has to be staggered so that it is beautiful. It looks better. So you do this, and then you see this visual communication is much better in the composition too, where things are very sorted. So this is a law of proximity. We'll go further, how it works. Look at these two compositions. Drawing the other points which are there. Yeah, this is a slide which is used to test color, color test. Some people who are colorblind may not be able to see the number 3 in between. These are the kind of slides which are used to check. I'll give some other tests to you. There are some smaller triangles, some circles, but the group of triangles can be seen as one, and if you just look at it very closely, you will find that it is framing a bigger triangle within this composition. So this is law of similarity, which tries to build a relationship amongst a composition. This is very well used in paintings and creating such kind of artwork. Such compositions. Imagine the sphere. Yeah, this is one of the Gestalt principles we have just learned today. The imaginary sphere here, fantastic composition. Look at this. The line is half, and then it immerses into the ground and comes back again. And then this is the line of visual continuity. Visual continuity without actually doing it. This is of common fate. Now there are some illusionary slides. I want you all to look very keenly on them. Illusions of depth. There are some illusionary works where when you look at the upper picture, it looks like a gallery, and on the lower side, the same is appearing like a railing and the person is standing on them. It is all using Gestalt principles. Focus very closely and try to look at the black dots in the picture. Spot the number of black dots which are there. Actually, there are none. But then, at some point or the other, you will feel that some black dots are playing in front of you. They are just like bulbs, on and off in front of you. But look well at this particular composition. We'll go to the next. Some of you feel that these are moving in circles. Some you will feel moving the right side. Some you will feel is moving on the left side. So this is probably the state of mind of your left brain and right brain. Interesting indeed. Look at these waves. Look at the waves these leaves are creating. Turbulent effect. Believe me, the slide is stagnant. There are no leaves which are moving. This is the illusion of the mind. So many circles moving in various different directions. Popular illusion for depth. Now I got this slide which is very interesting. Both the circles on the left and the right at the center are same size. But because what is the composition in which you place it? If you have a very small area and you want to make it look bigger, then place smaller things around it. Reduce the height of the sofa, reduce the height of the center table, reduce the length of the units, and you will create an illusion that the space is large. And if you in the same composition, if the height of the tables is increased or huge units are placed or vertical lines are emphasized, you will make that space appear smaller. So this is the law of illusion. Once you have grasped it, you will know how to use it. This is my favorite Gestalt law. This is law of pregnance. This is very effectively used by graphic designers. Look at this composition which is there in front of you. Very interesting composition. If you focus on the rectangle, you will feel that is above the triangle. And if you start looking at the triangle deeply, you will find that the triangle is on top. So the object you start focusing on starts to come out, start distinctly separate itself. But then if you have to redraw this entire composition, you don't have to draw it line by line, going by offset. You just have to understand, yes, these are two shapes superimposed on each other. So brain is very sharp to disintegrate information and assume it in a manner which is very simple for us to understand. So it always tries to simplify things. There are a few arrows which are there, pointing up, pointing down. There are some columns, gaps, white and black. But there is a hidden word in this. I don't know how many of you will be able to read it. Anybody who is able to read that word, which is written on that white piece here, can first unmute and answer.
Win.
That's the word win. Thanks, Praful. So that's the word win, W-I-N. Now, many of you will be wondering, where is that word hidden? You will probably have to go closer to the screen, lower your eye size and focus hard and think big. These are written in very bold, thick letters. You will see this. You will see this W. You will see this I, and you will see this N. I don't know, still many of you will not be able to grasp. Nothing to bother. There is nothing wrong with your eyesight. It is only in the state of mind. Okay? When you will be relaxed, probably it will appear much more easily. One more interesting slide to follow up. Identify the word which is written here.
Tie.
Oh, good.
Tie.
Yeah. Somebody got it. Got it right. The word is T-I-E. So you have to know where you are looking at, how you are focusing. It's a good sign that you are able to grasp it. Good. I'm happy. So this is for those who could not make it out. This is T-I-E. You have to focus on the rectangle. If you try to see this complete rectangle together, the tie will be visible. T-I-E. This is used. This law of illusion or pregnance is used by various stalwarts in industry to compose their logos, making them appear very interesting. Yeah, whenever you are using color in your slides, color in your write-ups or your sheets in presentation, you should know what will appear and what will not be clear. You can see on the left side, the same text is not as clear as what is happening on the right. So we have to know which color combinations do well, what contrast to use. There are few set of circles here and a huge letter hidden in this. A huge letter.
M.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, M is there. M is hidden. So this huge letter M is right at the center of the composition. Fantastic. This is very obvious. No points for that.
Cube.
And there is a cube. The cube is visible. Very, very prominently the cube is visible. Now your eyes are probably trained. So this is used in overlapping of circles, creating compositions like this. River and sun and all that sellout paintings that we see probably are taken from here. I'll go to some very interesting examples of how illusionary art has used the law of like this. What do you see in the picture? At the outset, you will see some
Face.
horses and somebody is seeing horses,
Yes.
Yes, and lots of faces.
and then
Faces.
then you will start to see first face, then you will see some face here, and then you will start seeing so many faces, and then you will be okay, this is the entire composition is filled of faces. Now there is another one which I find very interesting. This is a very popular slide, probably you might have seen earlier also. Some people will see young girl, and some people see a very old lady.
Old lady.
Old lady, yeah. And anybody who can see a young girl,
I can. Yes.
now try to see both of them together. You will have to look at one.
Yeah, I see both of them now.
You have to look at it one way, then it will start looking like an old lady. You will stop seeing her like a young girl. But once you start looking at it like a young girl is there, then you will forget how you saw the picture to see the old lady. So this is the illusion which is done with this law. I will talk about law of apparent movement, visual movement. Sometimes in a composition where you place the focal point decides how the movement will be, visual movement. It's very simple. I found a very interesting statement, so I shared it here. How spacing matters. When you say God is nowhere, and then you just move that W, it becomes God is now here. So this is the effect of law of proximity. Law of proximity works like this. So you have to know which object to place where. This is a law of perception. Looking at two processes like this, if you put question to many people, you will see a W, some will see an N, some will see an inverted W, some will see two fishes, two crosses or railings. So law of perception, it comes from your images which are stored in our memory, what we see, from whatever we are seeing. That is the reflection of our inner self. Also, the visual angle matters. This is a very famous painting of Mona Lisa. Purposely, the slide is kept upside down, and there is hardly any difference between both the paintings. But our eyes are not able to make out that there is a huge difference in them. And if I invert these paintings now in the next slide, you will realize how much is the difference. The painting on the right now is so distorted that it is not even visible when it is kept in an inverted position. And I have done this presentation physically. Some of my students have asked me to rotate the laptop because they really wanted to see whether it is the same image or not. And believe me, it is the same image. I have just turned it around 180 degrees. And it becomes this. This is a popular illusion. All squares are of the same size. But because they have been staggered in such a way that they appear as if they are narrow and wide. So they are actually parallel lines. All the squares are of the same size, but it creates an illusion. Look at these lines of perspective. Nobody will believe that all three human figures are of the same size. This drawing and tilted diagonally, if I add those parallel lines to it, it's the same sketch. But then, when you add some parallel lines, you might have gone to museums which are a museum of illusion. So, this is the kind of trick they use to play with the scale. That's a fantastic tool. If you master it, you can do mind-blowing interior design. Maybe you cannot do the entire house display, but you can create some mind-blowing areas in your design. Maybe in the landscape, in the courtyard, in the veranda, and you can create an amazing illusion. A giant chasing another giant. Definitely, the one who is running is smaller than the one which is behind. But in the physical size, just because of the background, it is appearing so. They are actually of the same size. Both the lines are parallel to each other. Again the illusion which comes from the background. Not very difficult to separate this from the background. We have heard this word rhythm in design. I've got some very interesting slides to look at. We'll just rush through them. We have already taken a lot of time in presentation. Inactive space. How this space activity changes moment you introduce some elements. With 4 columns. Huge space. Then you can break it down like this. You can compose elements in 4 columns. You can make it all the more interesting. So, writing complete text, filling it up like this. Instead of that, you use 4 columns. Instead of that, you introduce like this. So it becomes, the visual composition starts looking more interesting. I think this is something of active space, passive space. You must use while composing your sheets, whether be it architecture, interior design sheets, or construction, or services sheets. This visual composition of the entire sheet is very important. Look at this, and I just love this slide. This is an active space. You are waiting all the time. You are waiting for the bull to just jump over. It's such a dynamic thing. Now, whatever message you will write here, the person is bound to look at it. You have brought such a huge drama to this particular composition by doing this. You're forcing the vision of the onlooker to a particular direction. Many times we don't need signages. We don't need signages with words on them. But this kind of a subtle communication can definitely give sense of direction in our compositions and designs. This is an example of unity, conformity. When two masses come together almost in collision distance, they create a tension. Long horizontal landscapes we create with vastness. So whenever we have very subtle low lines, which are very free flowing, they give us a feeling that we are facing the meadows. This is a popular association with I think the desktop of Microsoft. Look at the small square next to the huge one. The contrast, the scale. Automatically an emotion comes in our mind. When you look at the square box, you definitely start feeling slightly emotional towards that small box in front of this huge one. So here you are creating an emotional shift. So whatever is communicated here will definitely have an emotional value. Add an emotional value to your product or the advertisement that you are creating. These are some of the compositions probably in your first year, in your basic design, you might have various compositions. So what each composition communicates. These are examples of ordered compositions. This is a composition. All have a single message in them. They're tense. About to fall situation. Very, very dynamic. These are very bold compositions. Sometimes you might have received such comments from your mentor. The composition is bold, composition is tense, composition is balanced, ordered. So this is what they actually meant. This is the element, this is the language. Bold composition. Cluttered, distorted, crammed. This is a crammed composition. Oh, look at this. It talks about what? It talks about a leader. And then it talks about the followers. Be very honest. Look at the screen. There are 2 compositions in front of you. Choose the one which you find as a pleasing. Very honest you choose. Look at them. Same number of lines in them. Be very confident. Which one looks more prettier? One is here.
The first one.
The first one definitely takes the lead. Now, come on, nobody paid us to accept it that this is the most beautiful composition, but definitely it has some attractiveness. So what makes this composition more attractive? Think about it. It's the same number of lines, same space, but it looks more interesting because it has a dynamic contrast. One has a very slim, long line and the other one has almost same size. So whenever your composition is equilateral, it is uniform, then it lacks interest. So that is why it doesn't become interesting. So somebody when has commented on your design composition that it is not interesting, so probably what they meant was this is missing. It does not have enough contrast to create interest. I'll show you another one which is my favorite. Look at this. Chinese strokes or Japanese strokes are fantastic to look at. I love their handwriting or the way they write. They are two interesting compositions. They are individually, both are beautiful. Which is the one which you will choose for yourself? The left or the right? Okay, make up your mind and decide. So I'm not going to be answering this, but let you all judge it. So you'll find that when you know what is pleasing in it, you will be able to decide how it works. In this, what makes it composition more pleasing? I know the answer. You all know the answer very well. There are a lot of big dots on one side, and the other one appears slightly more calmer, more composed and organized and spacious. Definitely, it catches our attention. Scale is very important. Look at the one which is on the left and right. When it is accented, any scale when it is accented, it definitely catches the eye. So whenever you want to do something dynamic, don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Be very certain whether you want to do it or not. Many times in interior design, I've seen students opting for curved walls. But the curvature of the wall is such that it is in the actual scale, it is so shallow that a person is not able to judge whether ये wall टेढ़ा बना है या ये मेरे को टेढ़ा दिख रहा है. So that should not happen in design. You have to be very distinctly clear what you want to do with the design. It has to be very clear. So when the scale is exaggerated, when the scale is very clear, then the composition starts to appear pleasing. So we try to unify all components into some strength. Try to compose them, usually perceived as a one entity. Dominance and hierarchy. Very interesting. It communicates the smile, looking at some bubbles go by. So you can automatically see that this is the heavier one, and gradually they're liberating and it's going to take off to the sky. This is the visual quality which is there. I suppose we come to the end of our visual journey, and I'll go back to the statement where we started off from. The whole is greater than sum of the parts. So definitely the entire picture is more important than what is done in the parts. So by this I come to the end of this presentation. We will have a few minutes for